When the many thousands of holiday makers who descend on us every year go back to their homes, I expect that the memory that they'll take with them will be a view like this. But Cornwall has many faces. Misty weather like this, sunshine. And in the next half an hour, I'd like to show you some of the things that make up the land I love. I never thought before how much my country belonged to me, till I had gone many miles from my home by the sea. Hedges aflame with firs, little white farm at the foot of the Carn, you belong to me, Cornwall, the land I love. Kindred is strong, this is where I belong, in the land I love. That's my song. That sums up exactly how I feel. It was written for me. Do you know, it wasn't until I went away singing 8 years ago that I came to realize how much I love Cornwall. I've seen beautiful places all over, in Germany, in France, Australia, but it's that special sort of magic combination, the people, the ruggedness of the land, the independence. We've got our old traditions, Helston Flora, beautiful dancing every May, and there's the Padstow Obios. But you know, there's one from Newlyn where I grew up. It's about the giving of an Allen apple, a sort of love symbol. But I don't think it goes on much. Now I wonder how much the people of Newlyn remember it today. If this was October and I was going to give you one of these, what would you do with it?
Eating.
Eating?
Yeah.
Trust you, like all the boys, it would be a what would it be?
Allantide apple.
Allantide apple.
Yeah.
Supposed to put it under your pillow and go to bed with it and then wake up dreaming of a new sweetheart.
Well, I never used to dream of sweethearts. I used eating.
If I was to tell you this was an Allen apple,
Yeah?
what would you do with it?
Eat it.
I think I'd cook it.
Well, you would heat it and you would cook it.
Yes.
Put it in the oven or bake it like.
Did you ever put them under your pillow?
Never.
You were supposed to, my bird. Then you dream of a new sweetheart.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Whoever will he be, I wonder.
Well, wandering around Newlyn this morning, I'm discovering that many people remember the Allen apple, although they no longer give them. The Allen apple would have been given on October the 31st, especially in this little region of Street Noe here, Foundry Lane. And the young people would be given an apple to go to bed and sleep with it under their pillow, and then the next morning they would have dreamed of a new sweetheart. I used to think it was to make me handsome for a sweetheart. But it's very much associated, obviously, with Halloween and all the things that we celebrate. In France, they call it Toussaint. Germany is Walpurgisnacht. Well, down here, it's Allantide. And as I say, I've met one or two. There's Mrs. Mary Harvey, and there's Harry Matthews, who well remember their Allen apple.
I remember Allen apples when we were children, yes.
Yes. What did we
Yes,
used to
I
do
do.
with them?
Well, as I said, we used to choose an apple as a child.
Yes, you'd be bought by the
They were
gallows,
a
didn't they?
lovely, large, rosy
Yes.
apple that we chose. And as children, we just were allowed to take them to bed and put them under our pillow
Yeah.
to dream of our future lover or husband.
Did you do that,
Ours
Harry?
wasn't so romantic.
Yours
I think we used to
wasn't,
put
but
ours
I
under the
think-
bed and wait until the next morning
To eat them.
to eat them then.
No.
Yes.
Did they work, do you think?
Well, I've no regrets.
No, I think they did a very good job.
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Whether or not you remember the Allen apple, seems we're all very sentimental about the old things, but we don't carry it out. You know, I didn't give them to my daughter, but I intend that my grandchildren are going to have them. Here are, Davy, my bird. Here's your Allen apple. Well, the last day is coming, October, and the shadows are long on the sea. I'm glad when it's time to go over the shoulder of Timburn Hill, the shoulder of Timburn Hill. Won't you take a sweet ripe Allen apple close under your pillow to keep, that you may be sure that your true love will come to you there while you sleep. slept with my sweet Alan apple, so scented and so rosy red. And I dreamed that my true love was lying so warm by my side in my bed, so warm by my side in my bed. Won't you take a sweet ripe Alan apple close under your pillow to keep, that you may be sure that your true love will come to you there while you sleep, will come to you there while you sleep. Sweet Alan apple, sweet Alan apple, sweet Alan apple. We all like to believe in magic, but it'll take more than wishing to save our fishing industry. If ever you are at the port of Newlyn, Falmouth or Mevagiziloo, St. Ives or Padstow or Porthleven, there's fishermen with nothing left to do. The mackerel, they teemed around our waters. The harvest, it was regular and true. Sufficient 'twas to feed our sons and daughters. Our little ships could work the season through. You shoot your nets on either hand and bait your lines with caviar. You just as well remain on land, boys. There's no more fish out where you are. But giants came from Russia and from Scotland, Bulgaria and France and everywhere. They scooped the very bread from out our hands, boys. There's nothing that these pirates have to fear. The seas that tumbled round our homeland for thousands now of years have served us well. Why should we now be so beset by brigands who legally are sending us to hell? You shoot your nets on either hand and bait your lines with caviar. You just as well remain on land, boys. There's no more fish out where you are. Well, that song was written about 6 or 7 years ago, but I couldn't sing it then because I thought it was too strong, too political. That was until a couple of Christmases ago when I was at a party with a fisherman friend of mine, and he had to go early. And I said, why? And he said, well, my boat's up Foy. I said, what's it doing up there? He said, well, he said, I got to go up there. He said, there's no fish down around here. Now that has become a common story down here. And it looks like a whole change in the way of life for Cornish fishermen, like Joe Brownfield. Joe, you've been in fishing all your life. You're a fishing stock.
Yeah.
What do you think of the state of fishing today?
Well, I think it's very sad, generally, the way things have changed in my lifetime anyway. The old methods are gone. The way we come up was drifting, pilchers, mainly pilchers. I just remember the last of the herring seasons. I've done a little bit of it, but not a lot, mainly pilchers in my time.
Now there's mackerel left.
Very few. That was drifting as well. The purse seiners have seen that off. And mid-water trawlers. The pilchers were imported in cans, as you know. Not seen our canoes off, and the boat soon went, you know.
Mm-hmm. Joe, how do you feel about these big ships that have come in? Are the Cornish fishermen very angry about it?
I don't know. Altogether, if I had one, it would be a good thing to do, but I haven't, so I don't like it, you know. Everybody speak to suit themselves, don't they?
Yes. So would you say there is a future for the Cornish fishing industry?
Not the way we knew it, no.
No.
No, it'll be big units, that's my opinion. It'll be big units and less men, less everything.
So the small man in a small boat is going to disappear?
Oh yes, whether they're, yeah. They practically have, anyway.
'Tis proper job to weave the mackerel in, boys, although your hands are bleeding sore. But nowadays you get it in a tin why go fishing anymore? Come on, they're only godsend fishes. What happened to the nerve we had before? Of Cornish hearts don't mainly beat on wishes, but fight and ask for what you know is yours. You shoot your nets on either hand and bait your lines with caviar. You just as well remain on land, boys. There's no more fish at war. You shoot your nets on either hand. Well, the fishing industry is suffering now, but it has always been an important part of our heritage. And of course there's people of the Newlyn School like Sanet Forbes who've left us these wonderful paintings of scenes of fishing. And you know, I can remember the mackerel being that plentiful off Newlyn that you could scoop them out with your hands. Of course, that's all changing. We've only got the memories of that. There are at least a body of people who are endeavouring to keep those memories alive. And they're the Cornish Friends of the Maritime Trust at their base in Thomas's Yard in Falmouth. They're restoring some old Cornish fishing vessels, including Barnabas, a Cornish lugger. Now, I don't know much about it, but somebody who does is the secretary, John Trelease.
Well, you're standing on Barnabas. She's
Yes.
our pride and joy. She's a St. Ives mackerel lugger,
Yes.
and she's 100 years old this year.
Fine-looking old lady. I hope I last that long.
Well, I
Yes.
don't know, dear. She's a very old boat, but she's beautiful.
Yes. Now, tell me, there's a difference between the St. Ives lugger and the other coast, the
Yes,
Newlyn area.
Mount's Bay luggers
Yeah.
were, because they were based in Newlyn, and Newlyn is a far more sheltered harbour than
Yeah.
St. Ives is naturally. The St. Ives boats are rounder in the bilge. They used to have to sit
Oh.
on the beach.
Tell me, how come that you are involved with Barnabas, this Cornish Friends of the Maritime Trust?
Well, the Maritime Trust is a national organisation. It
Yes.
was first formed in 1969, and its function is to do virtually for historic vessels what the National Trust does for historic buildings.
I see. So we'll have them for people not just to look at,
Oh, no.
but to work on.
Not only to
right.
work on and to sail. And I'm sorry, we haven't got this afloat, but at the moment we're laid up for the winter and we're preparing it for winter, for the summer.
Now, when they went to sea, John, how
Yeah.
long would they be gone for?
Well, it depends where they're fishing, of course, but they were sometimes at sea for weeks, 3 weeks or so,
Really?
you see, because
Nothing like this.
when the mackerel finished around the Cornish coast, they would probably go after them, and then they'd go north later on for the herrings, you
I see. Now, if you want to learn more about a lugger, you listen to this song. The children of Nancledra County Primary School are singing all about the Cornish lugger. Build me a lugger, oh.
All upon the ocean,
Build me a lugger, oh.
fit to sail the ocean.
Aha, aha. How long will she be?
All upon the ocean,
How long will she be?
50 feet all over.
Aha, aha. What are her timbers, oh?
All upon the ocean,
What are her timbers, oh?
elm, oak and pitch pine.
Aha, aha. Who'll take the tiller, oh?
All upon the ocean,
Who'll take the tiller, oh?
Luke would take the tiller.
Ha, aha. Who'll haul a net, oh?
All upon the ocean,
Who'll haul a net, oh?
all upon the net.
Aha, aha. What have you caught, oh?
All upon the ocean,
What have you caught, oh?
we caught fish a plenty.
Cornwall is a land of legend, of piskies and fairies and giants. Now this got here because of a giant, well, two actually, giant Cormoran and his wife Cormelian. Cormoran wanted to build a castle here in this land, which was then covered with forests, to build it high above the trees so he could see the surrounding countryside. Cormoran was a cruel man. He made his poor wife Cormelian do all the work and carry all the white granite from the fields far away. Had to be white granite because he wanted a white castle. One afternoon, while Cormoran was asleep, his wife decided she'd had enough, and she fetched back a piece of green granite, which was closer to. And Cameron woke up, and he was that angry, he chased his wife off, and she dropped the piece of green granite out of her pinny. And to this day, this rock have laid here on the side of the causeway to St. Michael's Mount, because nobody been strong enough to shift it. It's easy to believe, isn't it? Of course, in all legends, you know, there's always a little germ of truth, as with the one of the mermaid of Zennor, our most famous mermaid. Matthew Trewhella, the young man that she lured under the sea, he really existed, you know. And if you visit Zennor, you'll understand the magic of this story. Standing inside of these solid granite walls and looking at the church from outside and from the cliffs above to the cliffs below, one can well believe in a mermaid, half woman, half fish. She's here, you know, on the end of this bench, the mermaid of Zennor, with her mirror in one hand and her comb made of fish's bones on the other. And over the hill, in the little church of Tewednack, there's another bench end. That's the bench end of the family of Matthew Trewhella, whose father was the church warden there. And there have been people who have met this mermaid.
Yes, Brenda, I seen her in year 1949 with old Fred Allen up against the bar counter. And of course, that job got her out, and he had to draw her off half pint cider and to get her away coat. And a young fast me mine. And then we had to brush up the scales down, fell on the floor. From the size of old half crown down to the size of a shilling. Really. And she was handsome.
And that's a true story, because Cyril Orchard, he don't tell no lies. My grandma used to say that we Cornish are half superstitious and half religious. We'd keep one foot in with the Lord, see, and another one in with the devil. I suppose really that's why stories like the Mermaid of Zennor have lasted so long. I mean, you can't really dismiss them, you know. If you're sitting around the fire of a winter's evening and everybody's telling yarns. I mean, we Celts, you know, we're proper storytellers. Always ready to go, always having a bit of a yarn. The magic land of West Penwith lies to the far southwest of Cornwall. And on the north coast there lies the little village of Zennor. And in the granite church there sang a young man. His name was Matthew Trewhella. He came from Tewednack. And one Sunday there came to the back of the church a lady, and she was dressed in black from top to toe. And she was a mermaid. And she came to him, and she whispered in his ear, and she said, "Come away with me, Matthew Trewhella, and live beneath the sea, and you will never, ever die." And 4 Sundays in a row, the mermaid came to Matthew Trewhella, and she whispered, "Come away, Matthew." And after the 4th Sunday, Matthew Trewhella was gone under the sea with the mermaid. So young men, beware of the Mermaid of Zennor. I heard thee sing in the church above the ocean. I heard thee sing, my pretty boy, far from my salty palaces. I have come to thee, my pretty boy. I to thee will give my maiden virtue. I to thee will give my maiden show. Sleep within my ocean bed. Sleep with me, my pretty boy, and live with me. Far away from earthly cares above. Far away from earthly cares above. as the waters of the ocean. Red my hair, my pretty boy, white my breasts upon the wave. All I will give to thee, my pretty boy. Soft my arms that I shall put about thee, soft my lips that I to thee shall yield. Deep within our ocean bed, deep within, my pretty boy, just you and I, far away from earthly cares above, far away from earthly cares above, far away, far away, You know, when I'm away, this is the sort of image that I often have in my head. We're all inclined to regard this coastline and these chimneys as being something that's rather romantic and beautiful. But reality is far from that. These chimneys are here because a lot of men sweated blood. Now, I don't know too much about it, but I have with me Edward Waters, who spent 51 years working in the mines and today is the guardian of the museum here at Giever. Edward, tell me, what was it really like down in the mine?
Underground, some of them used to go down with their fathers,
Really?
8 years of age, and their job was to take in the drills, because it's all hand drilling, all hand labor in those days, take in the drills, and then when the miners used to, or their fathers used to blast out the tin or copper, they used to wheel it back in wheelbarrows.
And they used girls as well, didn't they?
Yes,
They used the women very much.
Yes, that's quite true. Up to 1840, there was 5,000 women working in the Cornish mines.
Yes.
Bell maidens.
And what was their work?
Their work was on the surface, not underground. They had to separate the copper from the tin.
And which way did they do that? What did they use?
They had a long-hilted Cornish shovel.
Really?
Yes, and they used to fill it into wheelbarrows,
Yeah.
and they had to wheel the barrow and put it in piles.
So life was no bed of roses in those days, was it, my
Oh,
cop?
it was real tough, a real
Yes.
tough, hard life.
We'll mount a tombstone at his head, and it shall read, young Tom is dead, that once a miner's trade did ply, but now below does peaceful lie. But he'd scarce known to be a man than the dread Tysis struck him down, and his poor life was gone to gain for some shareholder well in town. And do not look with misted eye upon that ruin against the sky. There's no romance in sweating blood and dying young for others' good. Well, there's no doubt about it. It's certainly romantic. But at what a price, Well, time's running out, and I still haven't mentioned something that's very, very close to the Cornish, and that's their stomach. We got handsome food down here. We got mackerel, we got cream, we got saffron cake, Evie cake, pasties. But watch out, because things are happening to our food. This next song came from really just remarks made by the older members of my family, and I got Richard Gendel to string it all together musically, because there's no doubt at all, it didn't like it used to be. The controversy that do rage about our Cornish diet on making pasties, cake and cream is enough to cause a riot. For my dear soul, 'tis plain to see, 'tisn't like it used to be. Now the flavour of a pasty's nothing if the turnip you miss, like having bread with bread you know, or a squeeze without a kiss. For my dear soul, 'tis plain to see, 'tisn't like it used to be. Well, here we are, and some pasty made by Mrs. Stone over to Cameron. What do you think of that?
And big enough.
Well, me ain't big enough. We'll take a man to work. What do you think of the crimping?
Very good.
Proper job, isn't it? Eh? They say a good pasty is, the test of him is to drop him down a mine and he's still in one piece.
Take a beaver.
They tell ye every cake is nice, made with self-raising flour. Plain flour it wasn't, plain it is. What's it called? Heavy flour. For my dear soul is plain to see, 'tisn't like it used to be. Of course, heavy cake mustn't have no raisin agents, no eggs or nothing in them. Stan here been telling me a story about this woman over at Newland. She was just coming out of the bakehouse with her freshly baked heavy cake, and she dropped them. The plate smashed to pieces, but the cake stayed in one piece. There's only one way to eat cream, that's on a bit of bread with treacle. They'd call it thunder and lightning. Of course, some heathens here, they'd have put their treacle on first. I'd have put my cream on first. They took the crust from off our cream. The prospect, it is frightening. Put cream or treacle first, who cares? God save our thunder and lightning. For my dear soul is plain to see, 'tisn't like it used to be. Come late, come soon, from east or west, and I will wait for you still. Come high, come low, let run, let flow, and I will look for you, will you come to me, and tenderly I'll meet you here beside the sea. No more could I withhold the tide than could